I'm Danny Quinn, and welcome to another episode of First Impressions. On today's episode, get behind the wheel and pick a suitable song as I review Edgar Wright's latest, Baby Driver. The plot of the movie is that a young man, Baby, played by Ansel Elgort, serves as a getaway driver for a criminal played by Kevin Spacey, to whom he has to settle a debt for. He has tinnitus from a childhood accident which he attempts to drown out using music, and he wants to get out of the business scene a chance to do so when he meets and falls in love with the waitress Deborah, played by Lily James. However, Baby is soon roped into doing one last job and must face the music when things don't quite go according to plan. I absolutely love Edgar Wright. He's one of my favourite filmmakers, with all three of the Cornetto movies, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz and The World's End, ranking as some of my all-time favourite films. But it has been quite some time since his last film. He was initially supposed to be doing Ant-Man, but things didn't quite work out there and he ended up leaving the film. So as you can expect, I was pretty damn excited for this movie. In fact, I would probably say that Baby Driver is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. And I'm just going to come out and say it was so worth the wait. Baby Driver is absolutely brilliant. I might even rank it as one of Wright's best films, and considering the quality of his past films, that really is saying something. It's a very enjoyable mix of action, romance, humour and music. And speaking of the music, that's probably one of the best things about this movie. The music is perfectly chosen throughout the film and fit the scenes they're in flawlessly. And the songs themselves are pretty damn great too. Catchy, tightly composed and very well written. For the most part at least. And with Wright's direction and the way that a lot of the scenes are choreographed and staged, it almost feels like a music video. In the best possible way, of course. Speaking of Wright's directing, that's another one of the movie's biggest strengths. It's such a well-directed movie. With a lot of movies that I've reviewed lately, I've noticed I never seem to talk about the directing much, mainly because there's usually just not a whole lot to say about it. It's usually serviceable and adequate, but not really full of style or flair. That's thankfully not the case here. Wright brings so much energy to the film, and his directing is so loose, so full of confidence, and feels so meticulously set up, that it really adds to the film in a big way. I don't think the movie would be quite the same if somebody else were directing it. Another touch I quite like about Wright's directing is how a lot of the set pieces and a lot of the movements in this film are choreographed to the beat and the rhythm of the music. It does give the movie a very musical-like feel. It very much is like a jukebox musical, but in a cool way, not in a super lame Mamma Mia kind of way, if you know what I mean. And just like other Wright movies, it's jam-packed with detail. The shots are so well staged and a lot of little things going on in the background, foreshadowing and small visual gags. It's a film that really forces you to pay attention and keep your eyes focused. It's not a film where you can tune out and not miss anything, but that's one of the many things I like about the film. It forces you to concentrate on it. There's so much detail that I'm pretty sure I didn't even catch upon seeing this film for the first time. Much like Wright's previous films, it is very rewatchable, and I always love the feeling of coming out of a film and wanting to see it again. That's always a wonderful feeling, I think. But it's not just the directing and staging in the movie that's great, it's the writing as well. It's so witty and snappy, there's a lot of very quotable lines, and Wright does a really great job of the film's characters. Baby is a lot like Ryan Gosling's character in the movie Drive, in that he's a man of few words, a pretty boy, and he's kind of unassuming, but if you fuck with him, it's not going to be pretty. And he's also a bit of a loner, he kind of cuts himself off from the outside world, but he's very skilled behind the wheel, and he genuinely cares about the few people he's close to in his life, such as his deaf adoptive father and his girlfriend. The scenes between him and his adoptive father are legitimately sweet and touching and never drag the movie down for a second. And the scenes between Baby and Deborah also work very well. I find that the two are in love. And although Baby doesn't say a whole lot of lines in this film, he makes whatever lines he has count. Most of the time when he says something, it's important to the point, but much like with Gosling and Drive, the minimal dialogue of the character is part of why I like the character. And I also like how they present the character in his life with minimal dialogue. Much of the film's opening, for instance, is almost entirely visual storytelling. I like when a movie can do that, and Ansel Elgort is so good in the lead role. He brings a raw coolness and charisma to the part, and he makes for a very solid leading man, while also having really good chemistry with Lily James in the romantic scenes. And I do hope his career takes off from here, because he shows much potential in this film. The rest of the characters are also fantastic too, with some very colourful personalities among the group of criminals that Baby associates with. They're all very entertaining in their own way, but there's a real unpredictable air to the gang. There's this very uneasy dynamic among them. Baby's the silent and stoic one. Jimmy Foxx's Bats is, well, you got the idea, he's fucking insane. John Hamm's buddy is pretty cool and dead on, but so in love with Eiza Gonzalez's darling that he'll do anything for her. And Kevin Spacey is the ringleader trying to keep them all together. But if I were to nitpick, I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that. There's only a handful of scenes where it's just them. And I liked the way that they bounced off each other, and the actors all did a great job, especially Fox and Han. I thought they were both phenomenal in parts, but it would have been cool to see just a little bit more of that. It's also a surprisingly suspenseful movie. Again, a lot of that comes from the gang of criminals, because they're all very volatile and very unhinged in their own way. But there's also a lot of scenes that really did have me on the edge of my seat. The action scenes have this very genuine sense of danger and threat to them, and even some of the film's quieter scenes where it's just the characters talking back and forth. It can get very unnerving in places, in a good way of course. You're really unsure of what direction it's going to go in, and even some of the characters in this film can be downright scary at points. And Wright does a great job of making music that normally sounds pretty tame and unthreatening, and making it sound downright sinister and unnerving. I love it. And Wright does an excellent job balancing all the different tones of this movie. It's a humorous movie, but it's not broad or in your face. The humour is quite subtle, and I'm pretty sure that in the Edgar Wright tradition, there's a lot of little jokes and gags I didn't catch in my first viewing. And the action scenes are very well staged with a lot of great stunt work that looks very believable. But there's a lot of scenes that you don't really know how to feel. You're not sure whether to laugh or feel frightened or feel emotional. There's some scenes that are pretty intense but are undercut by humour, or even the other way around sometimes. It can be a real emotional roller coaster, but that's what I like about the film. So my first impressions of Baby Driver are that it's a very enjoyable little smorgasbord of cinema, with great action, solid humour, witty writing and superb directing. It's probably one of the best directed movies I've seen in quite some time. The characters are brilliant and brought to life by fantastic lead performances, but the main highlight of the movie is the music. The songs are brilliantly chosen and used in very unique and surprising ways to great effect, and the directing and staging of the movie gives the feel of a feature-length music video. And like I said, I mean that as a compliment. And just like other Edgar Wright films, it's so full of little background details that I probably didn't notice the first time around, that I really feel tempted to go out and see it again. I'm going to give Baby Driver a very strong 9 out of 10. This movie is definitely my pick for Film of the Year. Logan's great and all, Split's terrific, Trainspotting 2 is an excellent sequel, John Wick 2 is fantastic, Lego Batman is wonderful, but Baby Driver is truly something special. It's a real cinematic treat. It's a total delight that you really should see in cinemas as soon as you can. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to be back soon with reviews for Okja, Despicable Me 3, Spider-Man Homecoming, War for the Planet of the Apes, Dunkirk, and several others. But in the meantime, feel free to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'm Danny Quinn, and I hope you have a pleasant evening.